And we are streaming now. Good morning, everybody. Happy Father's Day. You may be able to hear me, or you may not, but we're going to play a little clip for you about the immigrants and their families.
Thousands of undocumented immigrants have been separated after crossing the border in the last month. It's the emotional fallout from the Trump administration's attempt to prosecute all migrants who've illegally entered the United States. An attorney with the Texas Civil Rights Project describes the controversial zero-tolerance policy as torture.
One of the women that I interviewed today told me that she was breastfeeding her daughter when the government took her daughter from her. And when she resisted, she said that was when they put handcuffs on her.
Her daughter. I'm not falling for it. So shameful. Isn't that so shameful? Ridiculous. I know, Mitch, sorry.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Put up the thumbnail.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, everybody. We're talking about the illegals and their families, as well as Father's Day and the men's conference, which many of you missed last night. You were trying to be cute. You can call in at 888-775-3773.
It's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Welcome, everybody. Good morning. It's Sunday. It's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. And I hope to see many of you, if not all of you, at church on Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time with Jesse Lee Peterson. You can go to rebuildingtheman.com/church. Also subscribe to Bond Rebuilding the Man on YouTube. That's the Bond Church channel, Jesse's nonprofit. But I wanted to talk about these illegal aliens and how the left is all of a sudden caring about families. And it's so ridiculous. You'll notice they always care about families, quote-unquote families, only when it's supporting wrongdoing. So, like, if two homosexuals want to get married, they call that family. They want to be like, oh, we're for families. Or they want to adopt children. Oh, we're for families. Or if there are felons who are in jail, oh, we're separating families because all these black men are not able to be there for their children because of the criminal justice system is so racist. We're for family. And then now with the illegal aliens coming supposedly with their families, which most of them are not, it's mostly they're breaking up their families just to come here because one person goes and then sends for the kids and then sends for the wife or whatever. And much of the time, they're not even families together. They flee the husband, for example. For example, Obama had this policy of just basically no questions asked, I believe, accepting women who were fleeing domestic violence as illegal aliens, accepting them into the country, granting them asylum. And so that's breaking up families because they're breaking up from the fathers. And now they have these people that are coming across the border with children, and supposedly it's their children. We have to take their word for it because we don't really know. They're undocumented, remember? So we don't have any information about them. We don't know that they're real children. And there is a lot of child smuggling in that part of the world, and in America too, by the way. But there's a lot of child trafficking and stuff like that, and sex slaves and all kinds of crazy things. And then, so we should be separating the families. And it's only temporarily separating the families. They get separated, the parents go to jail or whatever, the kids go to this Office of Refugee Resettlement, and it's great. It's a great deterrent too. and I'll show you a clip of proving that. And you can call in. I mentioned 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773. Let's go ahead and play this other clip, Joel. Part B. I wanted to show a crying father whose family didn't get separated from him. It's ridiculous.
Por eso es que estoy aquí.
With tears in his eyes, Arbid Moran feels like one of the lucky ones. He and his son crossed the Rio Grande a week ago in a raft.
¿Te llevaron a la corte? Did they take you to court?
No.
¿Te separaron del hijo? Did they separate you from your child?
He was given a court date and a GPS ankle monitor. Now he's on his way to reunite with family in Colorado. Miguel Nogueras, a federal public defender, says the Trump administration's border crackdown is inhumane.
I don't think that this represents the values of the American people.
So he doesn't think it represents the values of the American people. This guy's a public defender and attacking America, basically, and attacking Trump and attacking the law and defending the illegal aliens. So I want to give you one more clip. Let me jump to 6-1B. I'm going to prove to you that it's a deterrent. It keeps families together on the other side of the border.
The White House argues the policy is a deterrent. And to Ana Ilis, who came from Mexico with her 2 young kids in March, it would have been.
No.
She says she would not have crossed the border if the policy had been in place then, and she knew her family would be separated.
No. Another thing that bothers me about this whole situation is, like, these people are not Americans at all. They are definitely Mexicans or, you know, south of the border people that should be staying there. We're American up here. And these people are coming in here, they don't even speak English or proper English, and they definitely do not have our values. And they just want to take advantage of the situation. And let me just show you one last one. This woman, I'll show it to you a little bit later, but basically they are definitely emotionalizing it and dramatizing it, and it's so disgusting, like you want to spit. This woman, Norma Pimentel, Sister Norma Pimentel, she was like, it's inhumane. That's another, they start using all these buzzwords. They care about humanity. And many of these people are Catholics. You don't hear them complaining. There's not a big media blitz on Planned Parenthood, abortion. They're for abortion. They're not for family. They don't care about what's right. They care about pretending to be for family just for their own personal gain. Let me go ahead and play this Sister Norma Pimentel. That's the 14-2, Joel.
What's most concerning for me is to see families suffering, because the reason why they come to this country is to ask for protection, for safety. They're running away from a very difficult place where they find themselves suffering a lot because of the gangs and the violence that they see every day. They're afraid for the children to face that. And they go through a journey that is very difficult. And then they find themselves here in this country wanting to ask for protection, and for them to be separated from their family, from their child, it's detrimental. And I think I think it's the most inhumane thing and cruel thing that we can do to a child and to a mother.
It's not inhumane, it's not cruel, it's the right thing to do. And listen to this woman's tone of voice. It's just trying to get you to think that she's being sincere. She doesn't come across as a sincere woman. She doesn't come across as someone who cares about what's right. She takes care of these people because she feels sorry for them, maybe. Or maybe she just, I don't know, these people are just gross people. And it reminds me of the Pope. The Pope praised this woman. We covered this earlier in the week. The Pope praised her for her work with migrants because this woman, Sister Norma Pimentel, is in charge of the something to do with the Rio Grande Valley. And it's the, helping the illegal aliens, basically. And so it's just so disgusting. And it's so transparent if you're really like paying attention to what these people are like. both the illegals who are coming and the activists, and these are activists who are supporting them. They're not humanitarians, they're activists. The public defender, and then that woman who was like, she was breastfeeding her daughter, and we don't even know if that's true. She doesn't even know that that's true. She was just told that by somebody, allegedly. She may not even been told that. And who cares if it did happen like that? As Jesse says, what is she, black? She resisted arrest. And so of course she got cuffed. And if they really want us not to become like Mexico and overrun with drugs and gangs and lawlessness and crime and wife beaters and domestic violence, then they would be glad that we're enforcing the laws like this. They would be glad that we are separating and creating some order along this situation. And somebody said the Catholic Church is evil. I agree. I do not like or trust the Catholic Church at all. I don't even care about the abortion thing. They're wrong because they don't even support the abortion thing the right way. They haven't, you'll notice they haven't really effectively fought against abortion. They've just been saying, oh, we're anti-abortion. And then they just make it a woman's issue. You'll notice with the abortion fight, this is a side note, with the abortion fight, I went to a Politicon thing a year ago, or 2 years ago, and people were literally celebrating that the abortion fight is no longer led by white men. And that's a sad statement on the white men and on the abortion fight, the pro-life fight, because white men are the majority of the country, right? The majority of the, at least they're the plurality of the country, of the voting bloc and all that. They should be leading. Men should be leading against the abortion thing because it's not a woman's issue. It's a human issue, and men should be leading. So that's the Catholic Church for you. They've become very feminized, socialist, pro-illegal alien because, as Steve Bannon said on 60 Minutes a year ago or so, he said that the Catholic Church and the Catholic bishops have been terrible on this issue because they support illegal immigration. They need it for their membership. They need it for money and all that. And yeah, there's, all these people about this Catholic Charities thing. I don't trust that anymore either because it's basically this fake social justice Christianity, feed the poor, the so-called poor. There aren't really many poor in America, but they are promoting just socialism. It's all messed up. So I had to get that off my chest about this whole separating families thing. It's ridiculous. And I'm glad that Trump is separating the families. I'm glad that the media is covering this. Hopefully the people down in Mexico and south of the border will see this negative coverage and not want to come up here. That'll be nice. And one thing I agree with Jesse, who said this week, is that we need to deport these lawyers, these public defenders, and these activist attorneys, and also maybe Sister Norma Pimentel. It would be nice to deport the ACLU and the SPLC. I would love, and you can call in and oppose me on this, but I would love to get rid of all the communists and socialists from this country. Remember, I remember hearing about this guy McCarthy and McCarthyism. So this guy McCarthy, way back in the 60s or something like that, was leading the quote-unquote Red Scare. And so he would call out all these people who were suspected communists. And they would, some of them went to jail. I think some of them, maybe 2 of them got executed for treason, a husband and wife. I could be totally wrong about this. Patrick may know about it. But there was a very good fight against communism back in the day, and now we just allow people to be communists. Antifa is communist. The Black Lives Matter, many of them are communists or socialists or whatever. But they're basically, these are anti-American people. And this is where I wouldn't be against this whole free speech thing having a limit. Because if you're anti-American, you're basically trying to overthrow the government. And so I would love to be kind of a little bit more like South Korea, North Korea in this way, where we throw people in jail for being communists or kick them out of the country. I could be wrong on this. You can call in and correct me on it. 888-775-3773. But these people are really destroying the country. And I will have to say that that wouldn't really solve the problem, because there is a weakness among us that is allowing this to happen. And so even if we were totally pro-free speech, which I would really kind of like to keep as well. I'm really ambivalent about this. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. But I would love to have it to where we're so tough that we can enforce Americanism, the American culture, and really just morality. Enforce morality on our fellow people, both the illegal aliens and the citizens and the immigrants who are here legally. It would be so nice to go back to that. There was, I've heard these a few stories of people that I know who see something wrong and they'll call it out. And most of the time nowadays, people don't call out wrong. They're like, don't want to hurt the person's feelings, and they want to basically like, don't make them feel bad for being wrong. But in the good old days, this is like the stereotype of the, pardon my language, but the a-hole American men that were just jerks. And people called them racist, but because they would say things that were, basically, you're living down to the stereotype type of thing. They would say something like, you're living down to the stereotype. They wouldn't say those words. They'll say like, these Mexicans, or these blacks, or this white trash, or whatever. So it would be nice to get to where we have that toughness again. Trump is kind of a throwback to that. Jesse definitely is a throwback to that. And there are others who just speak their mind so bluntly. And it's kind of childlike, really. It's so much more innocent. You, although you don't like it when you're the one bearing the brunt of their glare, you respect it, you appreciate it, and it enforces a respect and a morality and an ethics, even if you don't have it within yourself. Getting the shame from them kind of brings the best out of you. And I would love to get back to that. So yeah. And sometimes Jesse will tell us to say something to like one another here at the office or out on the streets. And we'll be like, I don't want to say that, because it seems mean, and you just don't want to. It doesn't even seem mean. It just seems difficult, because like it's tough to give real tough love, to be totally honest. So with that, we had our men's conference last night. Speaking of becoming the real men again, we had our men's conference last night, and I want to say to all of my mods, Tim, Patrick, Kylo, Ben, you guys were trying to be cute. Oh, we have pictures of it. Zoom in on that if you can. Like, oh my gosh, we had a panel of 4 guys, 2 whites and 2 blacks. I'm so glad that we got these 4 guys up there. Michael Knowles is the guy, the guy next to the colorful person. There's a guy who has, Michael Knowles is the guy with his head up high. He's so smart. I had never really heard, I heard Jesse's interview with him. I think I did. But he is smart. I can see why he hosts a show on the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro and all them. So, And then there's the guy next to him, the black guy. He was funny and frank and hot under the collar with Jesse, and you're gonna love it if and when we share this video with you. But the guy on the far right, the colorful guy with the white shirt and green, yellow, orange, blue shirt, he was so interesting and funny. Man, you missed it. This was a good men's conference, and the people who came from all over the world, and the country, of course, they really responded to it. We had, of course, we had Juan Alexander Juan Antonio Cortez, whatever his name is. Good guy. He was fun too. He was fun to listen to as well. He was on Jesse's show not too long ago. So that was so fun. And then we had Jesse was really funny. He brought me up along with Joel and Esteban, and he just embarrassed Joel and Esteban, especially Esteban, because he called Esteban a bully. And you can chime in if you want, Joel, but it was so cool. I had to kind of run in and out, so I missed some stuff, but it was an excellent event. Do you have anything?
The drama. Jesse was so dramatic on the story, but it was so funny.
Yeah.
No, the event was really good.
Show yourself on
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it out right now. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I think it was perfect how the panel was set up and all the guys that were on it. I think it wouldn't have been any better if it was either any less or any more people than it was.
I totally agree.
I thought it was perfectly set up. It was so fun.
And then Jesse spoke, and there was a Q&A, and these Jamaican guys came. Claston came. Bernard, the author who's been on Jesse's show, he's called into the Hake Report. He was there with his father, and they had some good back and forth with Jesse. You and the ladies, you wish you were men, because you missed it. So, geez. Yeah, it was a really good event. And unfortunately, we couldn't stream it live, but we're going to, I believe, as usual, we're going to edit together something nice for you guys to catch it later. And that was cool. I was so glad that it went late, and then afterward we had to continue working, clean up and all that. But it was so worth it. And so an annual event has only become greater. That was the 9th annual men's conference. I think I've come to all 9 of them. Yeah. And this was probably the best one. And we've had some great ones. We had Larry Elder a year, maybe 2 years ago. Maybe more, actually. But we've had some good things. And this was pretty professionally done. It went pretty smoothly. The food was good. We had Komodo, which is Asian fusion tacos. And so, yeah, don't miss it. Mark your calendar. It's the day before Father's Day every year. My dad showed up. My father. That was cool. Did you see my father?
Yeah. He had came up to me and he was like, we really enjoyed the show when it was with Joel and Esteban.
He made you feel better.
he said it was good. It was cool meeting him. I didn't notice. He just came and sat down next to me, and I was like,
nice.
Who is this man? And then he said, James' dad. I was like, wow. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Did you recognize me and him or him and me at all?
No.
Oh, you know what's funny? Is Joel is like shocked anytime he sees pictures of me without a beard, and I forget that I have a beard. I don't even think of myself as having one. And now I've gotten, well, I'm afraid to shave it now because I'm afraid of what I might look like underneath now.
You look like a different person.
But I think I look the most like my dad. Well, especially when I'm in shape and running and slim, because he's pretty fit, and but he's always been clean shaven all my life, and I've never really liked beards, but I grew it out kind of out of function. Well, I grew it out once out of a challenge, and And I just stuck with it. People like it. It's red, so it's cool.
No, you
but,
look totally. You're not James without the beard.
I know. Isn't that funny? Like, I have an uncle who my aunt he once shaved his beard, and my aunt, his wife, was like, because she'd never known him without a beard, so she didn't like it.
You should try it one day.
I know, just shock people. But I have to, I got to keep the beard for a little while. But it was cool to see my dad. He wasn't able to stay for the whole thing because we went late, like always. We go over. That's a tradition. The only thing that stays on time is the Jesse Lee Peterson show, because that has enforced breaks engineered by Bill. The enforced breaks are the computer cuts them off. And it's funny because people watch Jesse's show and they'll say, he always goes to break anytime somebody challenges him. But it's not true. He's just, we literally have like at 58 minutes after, basically, the show gets cut off. So don't be complaining and making up stuff, stupid accusations, people. So, yeah, it was cool. And Tim, I can't believe you didn't show up. But make your money so that you can come out next year. We'll probably have to have it at a different location because it was packed. We had not one empty seat, and basically all of the interns, the volunteers, and employees, everybody was standing, except for the people who paid to get in. Wasn't that right?
Right, and my back's still pain.
Yeah, he's flat-footed. Isn't that funny? He dances, but he's flat-footed. You should see him walk.
You mean wobble?
Yeah. I'm like, are you trying to look cool? No, I'm flat-footed. He's like limping. But he dances really well. And I want to see a live, we got to get Rip and Richie over here to the next one so that we can have a dance-off at the next men's conference. Because Rip and Richie can dance as well.
Right.
Rip and Richie has been on the Jesse Show. He, I believe he watches the Hake Report. And we played a little thing of him dancing. That came out on your, did you put it out up on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on the YouTube channel.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he was really good. I didn't know. He came on the show before? Or?
Yeah, he was actually a guest on the Jesse Lee Peterson show years ago.
Nice.
At least once. He called in and he was really resonating with what Jesse says. So much like we run into like all the time now. There are guys at this men's conference and, you know, calling in all the time that really take the truth and run with it. And it's nice and it's encouraging to see that people are really, as Jesse says, being doers of the word. That's so nice to see the guys, young and old, but especially young. There's 18, 19, 17-year-olds. There's guys in their mid-20s, and it's cool to see that that Jesse's message is getting out there. So that's super nice. There was something else I wanted to cover that was a little more political. I can't think of it, and I didn't write it down. Let me check my description. Oh, yeah. So I have been working hard on videos. Like, we've been putting a lot of videos out, and there are a lot of people, it's a kind of a growing thing, that are not creating a lot of drama about slavery anymore, and it's nice to see. And so Jesse had this thankful for slavery. Some guy challenged him because he has said in the past, thank God on the white man for slavery, or thank God and white people for slavery. I put that out from a year ago. This guy Asmaram, were you around at that point?
Mm-mm.
It was June of last year. The end of June last year, this guy Asmaram from New York called into the show, and he said, he asked Jesse, how come you feel the need to kowtow to white people, which is not true. Or white supremacy, kowtow to white supremacists. And so, and that had stuck in my mind because he challenged Jesse on saying, thank God and white people for slavery, because I could be born here in the greatest country in the world, and as I show my appreciation to both the slaves, the people who died on the slave ships coming here, and the people who fought in the Civil War and died, that I might be born here free in the greatest country in the world. And that's this nice thing. In the Bible it says, give thanks in all things, you know? And be grateful when you encounter trials and tribulations. And he didn't even encounter that trial or tribulation. Nobody alive today was enslaved in America, except for the sex slaves and things like that. And the people enslaved to the national debt, and the people, you know, and the fact that the government owns us, they own our property. We have to pay rent to the government in order for them not to take the homes that we paid for and completely paid off. We still have to pay rent to the government for it, otherwise they'll take it away and throw us in jail. So in a sense, we are still slaves, many of us, but the southern, the slaves in the South from back in the 1800s and a little earlier, be grateful, because it's a net good. Although, I mean, a lot of people point to it and be like, victimhood. And so there's a lot of victims, but that's just, they would find something else to be victims about if that didn't exist. You'll notice no matter how easy or hard your life is, you'll find a way to be stressed out or unhappy. So Jesse said, I'm thankful, and who are you to tell me I shouldn't be thankful? And I put it out, it got a lot of views just overnight. It's crazy. So I wanted to mention it, so check it out. And we'll be putting more out because we got some good ones. But I have a caller, and I've been wanting to get to my calls. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, James, it's Clint again from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Hey, Clint. Clint, right?
Hey, yes, sir.
Nice to hear from you again.
Yes, sir. I was just calling, I guess there's about a few things, but I wanted to touch on what you were just talking about.
Cool.
And it's just so sad, you know, a lot of times because, you know, people just don't have an open mind.
Right.
And everyone's like born to hate, you know. And I was talking to some police officers last night, and I was just like, I just had to like, just, you know, let them know, like, man, I really appreciate you guys and the work that you do. And I just said, it has to be a hard job to do what you guys do, to where the world is teaching people to hate you all.
Yeah.
And me and this guy talked for a good while. He was just he was surprised. You know, he kind of, it was kind of weird at first. He's a white police officer. Here I am talking to him about, you know, Black Lives Matter, they're a hate group and all that stuff. But, you know, the more and more we started to talk, the more comfortable he got. And I was letting him know, like, you know, man, when I was in school, they taught us this stuff, like to hate police officers. They used to show us the Rodney King and tell us about, they used to tell us about, you know, how bad cops are and all of that stuff in high school and college. And now, you know, after college and stuff, they're pumping it on the television when, you know, luckily, you know, I started to study, you know, Tommy Sowell and Larry Elder and listening to you all. And I started to, you know, read and check on the data myself, and just to see like how we're all have been manipulated and we're like being turned against each other to hate each other. You know, the men against the women, white and black. It's just like everybody's just being against each other while there are like real moves being made, you know.
Right.
And but about the slavery thing, you know, people just fail to realize this. and it really irks me about this with slavery. We weren't even considered as humans in Africa, you know. Black people weren't nothing, you know, and you know, I really have to question, you know, even the people like, you know, Jay-Z and Beyonce and just everybody out here promoting that, you know, you are a queen or you were a king. No, you were a peasant. You know,
right.
you
yeah,
were
that's
nothing,
true.
you know, and it's like you're pumping these lies, and like you have these followings of these people that believe in you, and it's like they're not doing their own research. But you know, we came over here as what we were, as money, as peasants, and that was it. Like that wasn't the white man that did that to us. And again, that's another thing that they teach into school.
Yeah.
That, you know, that white people are the evil people that did this stuff to us, when our, I guess, quote unquote, people sold us to the white man, and he brought us over here to build this country.
Yeah.
And it's just really sad, you know, to see people not understand it like that, because this was the country that said, okay, you're a human now. You know, you have rights now.
Right.
You know? When before you never had that before.
Yeah.
You weren't going to have that, you know, if it wasn't for slavery. And slavery just wasn't in America. You had white slaves, you had Asian slaves. It's slavery still going on today.
Yep.
In parts of the world. You know, that was just business. And a lot of people just fail to realize that that's just how the world worked at the time. But America, I think America was the first country to put an end to slavery.
I don't know if that's true. I think some others did it beforehand, but we went to war to end it, certainly.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter if we were the first or the last.
Right. Right. We saw that it was bad.
Yeah.
And we said, hey, no, we're not going to do this. You know, and it's just, you know, it's just sad to see. It's just sad to see where America is going, because it's like we're becoming a weaker nation, and the more we become weak, now we're going to have a weaker military. We're going to have a weaker police force. Because as I was talking to the guy, he was like, man, I'm retiring in about 5 years. And he said, I would recommend any young man to never become a police officer, because it's like your own country is against you, you know, and it's just like that doesn't feel good, to where, you know, the people that you're supposed to be protecting, they are bred to hate you. And
they're doing the same thing to the military, too. The military, I think, like, enrollment, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that enrollment is kind of down because people are pushed into education and all kinds of stupid stuff instead.
Yeah, I saw something on Vice the other day, to where, I don't know if it's the same thing, but they were just saying that it was just hard to recruit people now.
Yeah.
But
they're getting like illegals to serve, and that's not a good thing. It's becoming like a separated class system.
Yeah, and I was telling the officer last night, like, if America keeps going the way that it's going, I promise you, it's going to be a huge ghetto.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge ghetto, and it saddens me, and it really, really hurts to see, you know, the country to where it's going, because it was just like what you guys were saying about how you guys had tough love. Like, when I was growing up, that's just what it was, man. And
right.
I don't want to say I didn't understand it, because when I was young, I did understand it, but I just didn't want to go through it. But it made me the man that I am today, and I was so appreciative for my dad being so hard on me. It was like he was preparing me for the world, because, you know, they used to always tell me that when you get out here, you know, the world ain't going to love you like mom and dad or your family, you know,
right.
And they're not supposed to. You're going to have to stand for yourself. Mom and dad is not going to always be here. And it's like this generation that's coming up now, it's like, you're supposed to be nice to me. It's like, man, you're not going to make it. Like, I can tell within just a few seconds of meeting a man or a woman, like if they're weak or not. You know, like I can just tell. It's just in their body language, in their eye contact. It's just in just everything about them. And like what you guys
and it's widespread
about, like,
too.
Yeah. But it's very healthy to do that, you know, and that's just how we were growing up, like telling each other how it is, because you want people that care about you. That's what people fail to realize. That is love. That is care for a person to tell you something that you don't want to hear, because that makes you a better person. They are basically molding you and shaping you into a very successful man. Like one day you're going to end up being like, wow, I never, you know, it's finally coming together. And I think I saw that with Steve Jobs. He said you can't connect the dots moving forward. You can only do it backwards. You know, so once you look back on things, you're like, man, I understand now. You'll be so appreciative of it. But we get so caught up in trying to be cool and just like, you know, and it's like, you can't do that, man. Take it, everybody.
You know, you talked about how like Jay-Z and all them wanted to pretend like they used to be kings back in Africa.
Yeah, they're traitors, man. They're traitors.
Totally. That's so evil. And Jay-Z and Beyonce are miserable people, I believe.
Yeah.
They just released a joint album called It's All About Love or something like that. But they don't have any love. They're miserable people. They're promoting. You said they're promoting hate.
Yeah, they're promoting hate. All of them. Like I look at it so differently, and I'm so happy too. When I was young, when my dad told us, you know, we just couldn't listen to rap music anymore.
And because of the message.
Yeah, you know, and the crazy thing was he was a DJ. You know, he did that on the weekends.
That's funny.
And it was just like knew that it just wasn't good for us.
Yeah.
You know? And he just told us, hey, no more rap music. Hey, you can't watch this type of TV shows, because he knew the power of the influence that it had over us, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm really appreciative of that too. But I don't want to talk too much, but it was two things. It was I was looking for a book that I needed. So I called the library Friday, and they told me that they didn't have it at that office. They had it at the second office. And I was like, whoa, we got another library in town? They was like, yeah. And they said it was on the west side. And I was like, what? It's on the west side? And that's usually where, like, a bunch of black people stay. And actually, I used to grow up on the west side. It used to be really bad over there.
This is Tuscaloosa?
And, yeah, in Tuscaloosa. And so, like, I was so surprised that there was a library on the west side. And so I put it in my GPS and went over there. When I tell you, man, I am just, I don't even know what to say. I really am upset with black people. I really am, because when I tell you this is like the state-of-the-art project, I mean, they had a library, a gym, they had a laundromat. I mean,
and this is all public made. This is all like, wow.
And I just couldn't believe that they had all of this nice stuff. And this was the project. Like, they're building the project better than these nice townhomes and, you know, where the students and stuff stay. And it's just like blew my mind.
They're living like kings. Like they're living like kings here, and they don't know it.
Yeah, and it's so crazy, man. Like, they basically have it so good, but you know what? Majority of them can't read. They can't do math. They just can't do anything. And it's like they have been spoiled, you know? And that really sucks. And I really hate that. And it really made me just made me very, very upset just to see that, you know, because it was people, because I remember when we were growing up, like we were poor, but my dad had a crazy work ethic. He worked us from out of the west side over the bridge. And so, and that was good to go through that, you know, because, you know, you never forget where you come from, but they're never going to come out of that. They're so comfortable. They don't have to do anything, you know, and I feel like the government is wrong for doing that. I feel like that is so messed up, because another thing that's happening that I witnessed myself, because once we moved over to Northport, there was a huge trailer park, and a Mexican that stayed right across from Food Max. and it was just Mexicans all over, man. And within like 5 to 10 years, all of the Mexicans moved out, and
because they were working.
Yeah, they all had businesses.
Yeah,
they were moving into homes and stuff like that. But the people would think, "Oh, that's a great thing." No, it wasn't, because my dad was also in the bath and kitchen business, and he was rocking and rolling all around Tuscaloosa, all the big houses and businesses and stuff that was being built. Him and his team, they were basically putting all the cabinets and stuff in.
So were they illegals?
What's that?
Were the Mexicans illegals or both?
I'm not sure, but they drove the prices down.
Right.
It killed the industry overnight. Like my dad then was getting paid like $35 to $40 a box.
Right.
And then Mexicans came in and it was like $5 to $10 a box.
Man.
You know, but everybody's like, you know, like, oh, it's a good thing. No, it's not a good thing. It has basically ruined businesses and economies and towns all over.
But they don't.
So we're trying.
The politicians don't care about that. They just want to keep them bringing in, and then they'll say shame on the Americans for not having the same work ethic. Right.
And then they blame us for not having children, but the Mexicans are having like 10, 12 babies.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And half or more of them are out of wedlock.
Yeah. And that's why you have like the gang culture. It's just so much. And another thing, I was telling the cop yesterday, like, you know, why we really need good fathers. I remember, you know, I didn't know what gangs really were. Like I said, I was watching television, and I just saw them throwing up gang signs, and I thought it was cool. And so my dad, this is the first time, he caught me, and he said, "Oh, you want to be in a gang?" And I was like, no. So he's like, "All right, get in the car." And so we got in the car, and he took me to like the worst neighborhood in Tuscaloosa. It was like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and he put the hat on and turned to the side and put my pants legs up, and he dropped me off in the middle of the hood and drove off. And I was like, "What the hell?"
How old were you?
So I was only in elementary school, so I had been like, I don't even know. So the second time when I got into middle school or high school, I did it. And he threatened, he told me, well, he didn't threaten, he almost did it, but I literally got saved by a phone call. He threatened to cut my fingers off, and he lined all my brothers and sisters up.
Wow.
And they was like, you know, he said, "Hey, if y'all want to be in the gang, this is what I'm going to do to y'all." And he told me to put my hand down on the book. And he got this huge knife, man, and he's like getting ready to like.
Wow, that's scary.
Hands, my fingers, yeah. And he's like, you're not going to put me and my family in danger.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
So, luckily, a phone call came in, and I like passed out. You know, and,
you think he would have done that?
Huh?
You think he would have done that? To this day, you don't know. Man. That's funny, man. Well, I appreciate your call. I got to get to my other calls, but man, that was.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, take care. You know, he's right. Like, and he made a point that people are comfortable. Like the people in the projects are comfortable. That's what's kind of happened to all of us in America. We've become comfortable slaves, basically. Like, we don't really care that the government owns our property and we have to, you know, all these things that are going on. Because we're comfortable, we forget about it. And he brought up his dad. That's one thing that I'm grateful about my dad. He was like a no excuses type of a guy. And I think that's that is really eye-opening to realize that there are no excuses. And that's why I like working here, because there are no excuses. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Justin. I'm calling from Kentucky.
Hey, Justin. Good to hear from you.
Hey, James. Hey, Joel. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, man, you took the words out of my mouth. I was just telling my wife on Thursday when we're talking about these children, these illegals, and their children getting separated. And we have, like, the Democrats out there saying this is the most inhumane thing ever. but these people are also supporting abortion like no other. Reality is they could care less about these people, and they could care less about family, and they're just trying to, I guess, deter truth and deter good with evil, because that is very evil. And anybody that can see, how could you support a group that supports abortion and believe that, and then still believe what they're saying about separating these families and how it's so wrong?
Exactly.
And, another thing too is, I believe this. Now you have to forgive me. I'm from Kentucky, and I'm kind of slow and dumb, but I think that if Mexicans and people from Mexico and all over are coming into these inner cities, and they're really hurting black communities,
right?
Like your last caller just said.
Yeah, that's true.
If I lived in those communities and I was out here crying like I was oppressed and all this stuff, I would be on my knees praising God for Donald Trump for sending them out of there.
Yeah.
And allowing an opportunity to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah, but they just can't see, and they fall to the propaganda. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be in the position that they're in. I mean, you kind of get what you like what Jesse always says, you get what you deserve in life, and you don't see the opportunities that are in front of you. You don't appreciate life and what you have. And so you get punished by people who don't even deserve to be here, because they take what could be yours. And
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's kind of our own fault. But you're right. They're the ones hurt first and foremost. And it's so funny and weird to hear Jesse ask the same question. Do you care that blacks are hurt first and foremost by these illegal aliens coming into the country? And people are just in outright denial about it. And it's so obvious that it's affecting them first and foremost.
Absolutely. I was listening to Jesse talk to that lady. This has been a while ago, from the NAACP, like one of the chapter presidents.
Okay.
And said that she was against building the wall, and she was against sending the illegal aliens out of here. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm all for, if somebody wants to come over to this country, come in the right way, get documented, checked, and they want to create a better life for themselves, pay taxes like I do, work hard.
Yeah.
I'm definitely okay with that. But
limited number, though.
It's a very, very small number.
Yeah, less than 1 million, like we've been taking in.
It just shows how blind she really is, because these people are hurting them. If they're being oppressed in any way, shape, or form, it's not by racism, it's not by anything like that. It's because of that. That is maybe the only reason.
Jesse's right when he calls it the national organization, what is it?
I'm not sure.
The NAACP, National Association Against Colored People.
So I don't understand, like, if Black Lives Matter and like the NAACP and Colin Kaepernick and all those people really cared about how oppressed black people were, why don't they go into the inner cities and push those people out and do what they're trying to, not on TV or not to get attention, just go do that. Go help black people that can't speak for themselves.
Right.
They don't have that platform.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like I said, I'm slow and dumb from Kentucky, so I may not know what I'm talking about, but I think that's what I would do.
Yeah, that's simplicity, and that's what we got to return to. I appreciate it, Justin.
Absolutely, James. It's good listening to you.
I appreciate it. Take care. Happy Father's Day.
Yes, sir. You too. Bye.
Bye. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Hello? Yes.
Okay. My name's Ray. I'm from Champaign, Illinois. I call them the Jessies a lot, too.
Yeah. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah. They're always screaming affirmative action, how great that is and everything. The one thing that cracks me up is, if you go into the hospital and you're going to have heart surgery, are you going to ask for the guy that was put in there because he was stupid, or you want to get the best guy that knows his stuff? And it's always this just take somebody that's black and put him in there and push them through med school. Well, I wouldn't want to take the risk of somebody not being qualified. But,
they say the argument is they're not stupid. They're just like equally qualified, so they get the bump ahead. But that doesn't really exist. There is like no equally qualified. There is like somebody who is more qualified getting I can't think of a clean word to use, but basically like the guy who is less qualified getting priority over the person who's more qualified. And you're right, and it's I was watching Sargon of Akkad, who's another big YouTuber from England. He shared a video of Jesse on the Fallen State interviewing a black woman who was a proud affirmative action recipient. And she was proper and everything, but she was so dumb. And I think it's sad to see that the best are not the ones who advance. Because you'll see, like, there are some smart blacks like Thomas Sowell, who the other guy mentioned earlier in the show, and Larry Elder and Jesse Peterson. Those are brilliant black people that you love to listen to. They're smart. Even if they're not intellectually knowledgeable, they cut through and make solid, wise points. And so those are the people that should be advancing in life and put in the forefront. But instead, it's these like affirmative action types. It was so interesting watching the panel at the men's conference, which you guys will catch later. But at this men's conference, there were two white guys, not totally white. One guy is actually a mixture of Jewish, Mexican, part black even, I think. I could be wrong. And maybe part white. And then the other guy was Michael Knowles, who was Sicilian white. And then there was two black guys. One was a PhD, and one was, I forget what the other one was. Maybe a lawyer? Yeah, maybe like a real estate lawyer. But the answers from the quote-unquote white guys were so much more intelligent than the guys that were a lawyer and a PhD black.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was, and I noticed this like almost every time thinking back. But it's like there is a block that is put in to blacks by this, I think it's a victimhood thing, this belief in racism. I think it makes you dumber. Like you make strange assumptions about life and other people, and you just become more like shallow or have less to say of substance. It's so strange and sad to see. And you're right. I wouldn't want an affirmative action doctor taking care of me. Some of them may be qualified, but then you have that stigma and that doubt in your mind, and so it is not good for black people. Many blacks know that it's not good, but I don't know why they don't fight strongly against it. Because they're dumb, I guess. Because they don't see reality. They don't see the opportunities that they have to establish a good reputation for black people again, of like excellence, demanding excellence. Like what that guy said, his father had like a no excuse mentality with him. That is what creates greatness, not letting affirmative action slide.
When the O.J. Simpson thing first came out, the blacks were up in arms, how that he'd been framed and everything. And I was surprised because when I first heard it, I think everybody at that time felt like they didn't want to see a hero like this guy. We didn't want to see something bad happen to him that wasn't true. And then the evidence started to come out.
Right.
And you could see what was really going on.
He was on drugs, right? Was he?
Well,
he led them on a high-speed chase.
The O.J. Simpson thing basically.
Oh, O.J. Simpson. I was thinking somebody else.
All the blood evidence, that they found. But
I was thinking Rodney King.
It was funny. It was funny because I've been an appliance repairman, and I'm pretty much would do all the black people's work because I was willing to go into the neighborhoods and wait for my money, because a lot of times I would wait for their check to come in. But the one thing about it was they were up in arms about this, thinking that he had been framed by the LAPD. And then all of a sudden, all this evidence started to come out. years went by, and then all of a sudden they were agreeing that he had done it, but they were saying because of all the black men that had been put in prison falsely, that this thing was okay, that he had got off.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I thought, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
just
the mentality that happens when you have this mindset. You start not dealing with things as they are. I appreciate it, Ray. I got to get to my final call.
Okay, thank you.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
This is Charles from Compton.
Hey, Charles, good to hear from you again.
Oh, it's great to hear you again too, James.
Happy Father's Day.
Let's. I know we don't have much time. I just want to unpack. Let's unpack this illegal immigrant thing right quick, okay?
All right. Are you for or against amnesty for the illegals?
Amnesty.
Yeah.
No.
You're
right
against
now, we do have a problem. Jesse is on point when he speaks of what's happening in the communities with the opposition, with the blacks and the illegal aliens. Okay.
Yeah.
It's mostly the gangbangers. We have to really keep everything centered. Okay, because we're going to summarize it real quick. You have the criminals, the gang
Charles,
elements.
there's something going on with your phone. Like there's some crackling starts to come in as you talk. Can you change the setting of your phone to regular?
Okay, yeah, I am on regular. I'm not on any speaker. I'm on regular. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Now I just want to unpack this real quick.
All right.
Okay, so you got the gang element that's really causing problems, that's targeting blacks.
Yes.
Especially in the communities when there are no black gangs, they've been specifically targeting. Okay.
Yep.
And then when we move on to the level of the jobs that are motivating a lot of the illegals to come over here.
Right.
That's stemming from being hired by usually white business owners and homeowners that have them doing their work in regards to landscaping, being nannies, working in the back of restaurants, picking fruits. Agriculture industry is very big. See, these are the motivating factors that have them coming over here in so many numbers. You got to look, they got tunnels now that these cartels, multi-million-dollar tunnels underground.
And there's a lot of
drug trade is so
there's a lot of demand for drugs in America too, and they're bringing them in.
Right.
The illegals that I've known in my life have told me that the whites love their drugs.
The whites love the drugs, right? And we have to realize that when whites and blacks use drugs at the same rate, blacks are incarcerated at 5 times the amount. Okay.
Yeah, but that's that has more to do with broken windows policing because there's so much violence in the black community.
The violence has gone down a great deal, though. I think that
it has. Thank God for broken windows policing.
No, it's not the broken windows policing. Exactly what it is right now is that the police have a less aggressive presence. And
no, but when they became less aggressive,
the gang culture
the crime went up again.
The gang culture is dying out on its own because of a number of factors. Okay, gentrification is one. There are a lot of factors.
What was one? What was the first factor you said?
I said gentrification.
Oh, okay. All right.
And the city of, I can use Los Angeles as an example.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people are getting pushed out, and you have more positive aspects in the community, but it's happening in Latino communities, happening in black communities.
The gangs are dying.
Right now, only the more affluent people are going to be able to afford the property. So it is causing, that in turn is causing a strain on the Latino and black relations. But as I mentioned, I think it's more to do with the gang culture.
Prices.
That's driving a lot of the violence that you hear that's going on.
Gang culture is just evidence of hate, because and fatherlessness, because a lot of people join gangs because it feels like family. And they don't even necessarily commit crimes, but they're part of this gang, and then the gang is associated with crimes. Many of them are committing crimes, and in general, like this as out of wedlock births spiked and all this stuff, like in the 50s, there were like something like 250 or something like that. It's in the antidote, Jesse's book, murders in California. And then 20 years later, 15 years later, there were like thousands of murders, and the per capita murder rate had more than tripled, I think. Maybe I don't have the numbers exactly right, but it really spiked.
Okay, I can give you some numbers right quick though. The black on black murder rate has gone down 67% over the past 20 years,
and it's still 4 times the rate of the white on white.
Down.
It's still 4 times the rate of white on white murder rate per capita.
Well, there's no really 84% of whites kill whites.
No,
and,
but you're not talking about murder rate per
black.
capita. When you say 84% and 92%, that's just proportion of what they kill. But the number of people killed per capita.
You live next to, so black people are the victims of black murder.
I know, but you're missing the point. I just told you that blacks kill blacks at 4 times the rate per capita that whites do.
Okay, and I give you that point, and I tell you that no black on black crime or black on anyone murder is excused, and
that's the number one. That's the number one. Hold on.
Let me get back to the point though.
That's the number one type of murder that goes unpunished.
67%. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
That's the number one type of murder, black on black, that goes unpunished, I believe. Because if you look in Colorado...
actually, that's not true.
No, it is true. Watch, I'll show you. Because if you go into Chicago, it was 75% get away with it. It's climbed to like over 80%.
Okay, but you gotta
get away with
too many numbers. We got to unpack the numbers again.
But I gotta close up,
listen,
Charles. I gotta end the show. Make your last point.
Okay, well, my last point is that you have to unpack the numbers. Don't go just by the stats. You have Latin Kings. You have a lot of Latin people, different white gangs, even in Chicago. So every unsolved murder is not a black on black crime. They have a lot of other numbers that are thrown in there, and we have to take the time to unpack these numbers and not overgeneralize. Okay, so black people don't hate whites.
Yeah, they do.
And we all,
yeah, they do.
No, they don't. Actually, they don't.
They don't even love each other.
Look at Joel. Jesse and Joel, they're black. You know, it's a lot of independent. Blacks are not a monolith. There are a lot of
I know, but you said black people don't. Okay? And if some black people do, then black people do.
Some maybe it's a small percentage. If so,
I wouldn't say it's small.
It's a very small percentage. Black people by nature don't hate. Okay.
I can't argue because we have to end.
Okay. All right. Have a nice day. All right.
All right. Appreciate it, Charles. Thank you. Take care.
All right. You too.
All right. Bye. To the rest of the calls, I apologize. I'm way over. We got church in less than an hour. And so go to Bond, Rebuilding the Man on YouTube, or rebuildingtheman.com/church. Type that in. And we'll be live at 11 Pacific, 1 Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Yeah.